So our love affair is quite unique in the sense that we are a blind date success story. We met at a downtown restaurant. We have mutual friends, and they both just said, you gotta meet, you gotta meet, you gotta meet, you gotta meet.
We were at a men's retreat with Jeremy, the guy, Jeremy Bakel, Jeremy and Natalie. They're awesome people. And we got back that week, this was over the weekend, and we were at church, and Jeremy was like, he didn't hardly know me at all, but he's like, man, he was talking to my dad, he's like, we need to find Mundi a husband, or we need to find Casey a wife, rather. And yeah, he was like, we got the perfect girl, she works with my wife, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't do blind dates. Don't do blind dates, don't do them. No, not gonna happen. That Friday was coming up, and he pestered me. I turned him down 4 times. And he was like, dude, just come out, hang out. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll have fun, be okay.
I actually called Casey a week before our date to say hello and just confirm that we were gonna be going out. And he forgot, he actually forgot. It was quite an awkward conversation on the phone.
She calls me, I don't even know her name. And I had forgotten about the date. And I lived in Pueblo West at the time. I was working in the Springs, and I was wearing this super classy racing Schwinn mountain bike coat. I looked like a super knob for sure. I did not look cool. I showed up in like my work attire and this racing coat. And I met her at her condo. We went to the Olive Branch downtown. She spilt ravioli on me. And we had a nice time, but yeah, both of us were like, she's gonna be really cool. We have a lot in common, but I don't think, there was no spark on that first date for sure.
And honestly, I did not really think anything of it, and I think he'd say the same thing. Like, we had a really great time together, really awesome conversation at dinner with our friends, but I walked away that night thinking, great friends. And then a week later, I went skiing with a couple of buddies of mine, and I had a roof rack on my car, and it flew off. And he has a background in automotive, and so I called him and said, hey, can you come take a look at my car? It's caused some damage. And as a thank you, we went to the Loop afterwards, and we ended up spending 3 or 4 hours just talking, and we went deep so fast. And we're having conversations that most couples probably would have, 6 months in, and we were just diving right in. So it was the first kind of date that we had, even though I don't think we would both say it was a date. And I came home that night, and I looked at my roommate, and I was like, I think I'm gonna marry that guy.
She's gorgeous. It's kind of high up there. She's just a cool person. She was big into the outdoors. She loved God. And yeah, those were kind of like my 4 things. Things just started clicking, and we sat there for 3-4 hours talking about stuff that we shouldn't have been talking about. And it was really cool. Like, okay, she's really cool. And then that was, so we met on a Friday, that was Monday. And then the following weekend was when she came back from that wedding, and I followed her back in that snowstorm. And again, we just talked and talked and talked and talked. And I was like, wow, she is awesome. And I think at that moment was like, man, there's potential here. That's what I thought.
He used to leave fantastic little love letters on my car. At the time, he was living down in Pueblo West. There's a couple of times, actually. I mean, I feel like it's like a culmination of things that lead to the aha, but he would leave little love letters on my car, and he actually left a really funny one with a really entertaining photo that really just drove home this humorous side of him. I was driving back from Oklahoma from a wedding, and it was a pretty nasty snowstorm, and my windshield kept icing up, and I was kind of in a bit of a panic. I don't drive well in snow and ice, and he came and got me back safely. I mean, just going back to this idea of just his servant heart and his humor. And I think it's those culminations of things that made me fall in love with him?
Probably the second date, probably 13.2 seconds into the conversation, I think that was the time where I fell in love with my wife. Yeah. We went to Copper Mountain, and I grew up, you know, not skiing at all, playing basketball and biking. Those were my two things. And I went with Mundi, and she grew up skiing. She's a very good skier. And one of my best friends, Jason Jackson, and he's a really good skier. So I was trying to show off keeping up with Jason Jackson all day, making a total fool out of myself, for real. Like, I was surprised she went out with me again after that.
We went to a restaurant in Manitou, and I think the intention was to propose to me there. And he had this necklace that was made for me by a friend of ours who's a metalsmith. And he was fumbling around in his pockets, and I could tell things were getting a little awkward in the conversation, like, what's happening here? Is he, what? And he was fumbling around in his pockets and accidentally grabbed the necklace, which I think he meant to grab the ring. I don't even think he had the ring on him. I think he had accidentally left it. He grabbed the wrong box or something like that. And so you realize as he's like fumbling around, this isn't a ring box. And so here he has all this like really romantic things to say, and then he's like, and here's the necklace.
The whole weekend got a little, you know, just out of whack because we were going to go skiing, and I was going to propose top of the lift, you know, get down on the knee and hand her the ring, and something happened where it was like way crazy blizzard conditions, lots of snow. And we weren't going to be able to get up there because I-70 was closed and this and that. And so, yeah, we went to the Mona, and that's totally got the wrong piece of jewelry. Because I was like, I love this girl. And I had a friend that was a jewelry maker, so I had like 18 pieces that I was going to give this girl, you know? And that piece of jewelry, the right one, the ring, was not on me at that moment in time.
And so after dinner, he was like, I want to take you somewhere. It's freezing. I was like, I really just want to go home. Can I go home? He's like, no, we're going to the Sundial, which is where my parents got married. And so we went to Monument Valley Park, to the Sundial, and that's where he proposed.
But we did it, and she said yes, so that's all that matters.
Our wedding day was fast and furious. So from the time I met him to the time we got married was 6 months. So it was really quick. And the wedding day itself was beautiful. It was beautiful. We got married at Hillside, really organic, really easy, homemade food, lots of really great friends and family came in over Labor Day weekend. Drove away in his Lincoln Continental that he had built, and away we went to Whistler the next day.
It was a very special day for me. I had always wanted a family, found my wife, and I love Mundi so much. And that day for me was incredible, the whole day. I have incredible family and friends, and it was really nice. The weather was great. And man, I tell you what, like, kid you not, like when she came around that corner, I was a little baby boy. It was pretty neat.
So 5 years into our marriage, I decided I didn't want to be married anymore. And we were separated for 2 years, and it was some of the hardest times, some of the most challenging times, but I think what brought us back, I remember I was living in Vail at the time, and my boss, we were having a conversation, and he had reached out and said, hey, let's get together. He was on the road, he's touring, and he was like, I'm gonna be home for a couple weeks, let's get together. So we met at Estes Park, and I remember talking with my boss at the time, and she's like, well, just follow your heart. And I had heard this a million times before, but it was like my mantra heading into Estes Park to see Casey. It was this over and over, follow your heart, follow your heart. And I walked away that weekend knowing, like, yeah, like my head and my heart haven't been aligned the last 2 years, but in my heart, I know it's right. And I know we're right. And forgiveness, I think, is quite beautiful in our story. And he loves deeply and well, and he forgives like no other, and that's special.
After that 2-year mark, I just wanted her to be happy. And so I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but very happy when I just saw it in her face. You know, that weekend we were in Estes Park, I was like, man, that was we had a fantastic time. And I was like, this might fall back in place, and it did. The vows that I made to my wife, I just wanted to hold out. I knew she was the one. She just needed some time, and so thankfully, I was just able to kind of hang in there and chill out, and I'm very grateful that it worked out, because we've now been married for going on 15 years, and we have a beautiful 5-year-old boy.
That has been really special for me. Right after Walker was born, I had pretty nasty postpartum depression, and to watch him step into not only just being a really awesome dad, but also carrying a little bit of the nurturing piece that I really lacked for Walker early on has been awesome. There are times where, it would make me sad that Walker isn't as attached to me as he is to Casey, but I mean, I guess you can't beat it, right? Like, if he's gonna love somebody really well, to love his dad the way he does is pretty special, and I have to continually remind myself of that. Their bond is really quite unique, and he really admires and looks up to his dad. It's awesome. My dad's been gone for, it's already kind of blurring together a little bit. I think he's been gone for a little over a year now. I haven't been the best of friends. I have a tendency to, I think, hurt people, right? And so it's safe for me to push people away, especially in really hard times. And there have been some incredible women in my life that have stuck by me and said, no way. But Casey in particular, he's the one person that I never wanted to push away. Like, I wanted him to be in that space with me and grieve alongside me and journey with me. I don't have any siblings, I'm an only child. So for him to carry that burden with me felt really comforting, like almost as if I wasn't alone.
The strength and love, like we made it through a really tough season, and Mundi's an incredibly stubborn, very strong person. And right now we just have a lot of love. We're having a lot of fun together. So that's been neat.
Get out of here.